welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and hopefully JP's first son, Tim Hoey, will be joining us very shortly. Well, Uncle Joe, we have another great show for you tonight, so let's get it started. We'll start with the Boston Celtics. Let's just say the last two games against the Nets, we'll try to forget very soon. The Celtics are completely overmatched. This is a sweep. This is just an administrative thing. The next two games.
Yeah, please sweep them quickly and get them out of our hair. They've been terrible all year. At least these be our expectations of them. They have not lived up to anything anywhere close to what we thought we'd get. And
Yeah, this is a team that went to the seventh game of the Eastern Conference Finals. Should have gone to the finals. Should have beat just an average Heat team. Did not do that. We had great promise for them this season. Added Thompson, added Teague, had two first-round picks, and Pritchard ended up being a contributor. This is a team that should have been in the hunt. And really, to be honest with you, they're a lottery team.
and I gotta tell you, after watching them last year and this year in the playoff Kemba is his ceiling is the regular season Kemba. He has no second gear. There is no extra defense. There is no extra offense. He
Yeah.
is so easily contained when it comes to when they ratchet up the game in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Go there.
I've been saying this for all season. Kemba is just a nice seventh man coming off the bench, 15 and 20 minutes, give you some offense against the second team. Not great responsibility defensively, but that's it. He's not a max player. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, very bad contract. I gotta say, Danny's last three max contracts have been failures.
Well, no, obviously Tatum. I mean,
No, I mean free agent max contracts. Horford didn't end well. Hayward never materialized,
right?
and Kemba has given us nothing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great point. And again, nice segue, Uncle Joe, to our next topic. Danny built this roster. I know the love Danny has in this town. It's been 40 years of, and most of the time being affiliated with the Boston Celtics. I think it's time for Danny to retire.
Oh, I do. You know, I've been banging that drum for the last few years.
Yeah.
You know, he is not improving the team at all. The
No.
team stays the same, and we watch Milwaukee get better. We watch Philly get better. We watch Brooklyn get better. We watch Miami get better. You know, we're watching almost every Atlanta get better. Even the goddamn Knicks are getting better.
Yeah,
Not the
absolutely.
Celtics. Celtics stay the same.
The game has passed Danny by, and please do not start giving the GM position to relatives, his son and stuff. We got to go outside, get a nice, good young GM. Look, the guy in Brooklyn, he built up a nice team after being behind all those draft picks that were sent to the Celtics. He's built a team up that quite possibly could win a title. We need those type of GMs.
Someone that you don't have to. I mean, everyone knows about, finish last and you get a good draft pick. That's one way. Look at Philly. It took them almost 15 years.
Yeah.
Trust the process. Trust the process. I think it's close to 15 years.
Yeah, that's what
Now they
happened.
have a good team. You can't always go that route.
No, absolutely. Look, I saw a stat I sent you guys last night. Jason Tatum has taken one charge since he's been in the NBA. One defensive charge. Is that on Jason Tatum or is that on Brad Stevens?
I'd say both. If he wants to be a matador, let him be a matador. But he's got to produce in other areas. And a lot of times he doesn't produce.
Look, the great players in the last decades has been LeBron and Michael Jordan. Those guys were are great defensively in LeBron, and they take plenty of charges. Why can't Jason Tatum do that? Is it that if that's not part of his game, then Joe, how can he take it to another level?
And if you just the example on his own team, I think Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker pretty much are in top five 5 in the league in drawing charges.
Right.
He has a good example. Someone to show him how to do it. Just get your feet right and take the charge. And you absorb the blow. You don't have to get killed. You're going down to solid too.
Jaylen Brown only has a couple himself. Brad Stevens doesn't seem to be able to coach superstars.
He's had a lot of trouble with them, hasn't he? Well, Horford wasn't a superstar, but that was about the only guy that got along with him.
Yeah, right. He likes those middle of the road guys, that will take coaching. They're kind of happy to be in the league.
Well, Danny hasn't done him any favors. He likes that guy out on the high post, the big man, to leave the lane open, out at the high post, doing the facilitating. Like he had Horford doing it, he had Tice doing it, but then Danny got rid of Tice because it cost too much. But he likes that. Like you see it all around the league. Vukovic, Vucic, Luka. The big guy up at the top of the key doing the facilitating.
Look, I think they should blow the team up. And Tatum, Brown, Pritchard, Williams, that's Time Lord, and maybe Neesmith. Other than that, I want to see everybody out of here.
No, I'd say I think if Rob Williams can get you something, South, because he's a young guy with a lot of energy. He's the kind of guy you'd love coming off your bench.
Injury.
I love if you're a contender, but he's never going to be a starting center. Never, ever. He can't give you more than 10, maybe 15 minutes a game, and that maybe 2 out of every 3 games. He's going to be injured all the time, too.
Yeah, you're selling high. I agree. You're selling high, which they just should have, of course, done with Marcus last year in the offseason. And also, Rob Williams is a free agent after this year, after the next year.
He's a restricted free agent this year.
No, I don't think so. No, he's not a free. I think it's after the next season. After that, he's going to want to get paid, and I don't think the Celtics going to.
I've come around to a way of thinking on Marcus. To tell you the truth, we should have sold last year because he's not as good this year as he was last year.
Well, he's getting exposed. The game has passed him by. It really has. His game does not translate well to the modern game. It doesn't. It's a 3-point game. These guys don't need to dive on the floor anymore. They just don't do it. And the fact is that he lost some of his edge this year too. He hasn't been the player that he was last year.
Oh no. I think he knows he's out the door, and he hasn't really been sacrificing his body like he has in years past.
So what can you get for him, Joe? Are you mid-range first round?
We're looking for teams that are contenders, legitimate contenders, not like the Celtics. Legitimate contenders would love to have a guy like that or Time Lord that can come and change the energy. You're a little listless. Bring those guys that bring a lot of energy into the game. Revitalize the team that's on the floor. Get them moving. Start them on a run.
Yeah. All right, Evan Fournier, I need to never see him again in the Celtics uniform. That was another terrible trade. He's a stiff.
He's a free agent anyways.
Right? Yeah, he's a stiff, though. Another terrible deal by Danny.
I had high hopes for him, and if he signs for the right price, I'll take him.
Oh, for what reason, Joe? He can't get his own shot, and that's what happens in the playoffs. They move the defense further out in the playoffs. That's why Kemba has problems. And that's why guys like him do. Look, you can play for Orlando, and you're going to be down by 18 points any part of the game, and he gets open threes.
Yeah, he loves that corner 3. That's his shot. But they contest it in the playoffs. They contest that shot in the playoffs.
And that's,
you don't get it.
No, and that's why it's a different game in the playoffs. All right, and I will make a prediction. Marcus is gone. Either Marcus is gone or Brad Stevens is gone. But both of them will not be involved in the Boston Celtics organization next season. Mark my word.
That might be Danny's gone.
Well, Danny would retire. Obviously, they would not fire him.
Yeah, when someone's getting kicked upstairs, Russ has a couple of names, I know that.
But Danny gets retires, Marcus is for sure out the door because any new GM's going to want him out of there.
Yeah, because Danny considers him, like a superstar, and he's
Oh,
not.
Jesus, don't get me started. All right, go to the Boston Red Sox. Joe, 29-20, second place. The only reason they're in second place is because the Tampa Rays never lose. So, I mean, it's not because the Red
11
Sox
in a row now, is it?
What's that?
Well, they won 11 in a row. And the Red Sox are going up against the top part of the schedule.
Yeah, well, look.
They got a tough schedule ahead. I'm afraid they'll start sinking slowly in the AL East.
I don't know, Joe. I mean, look, there are holes in that lineup, but I have to be honest with you. In the 50 games, they played 49 games. Their starting pitching has been as good in these 49 games as I can remember for the Red Sox in any 49 games. That's including the 2014.
Well, they have played a very soft schedule too. We haven't seen the Yankees yet. Yeah, we saw the Astros.
We swept Tampa. That was when we got back into the race. No, they played. The Twins were actually a pretty good team when we played them. They've fallen off since. No, they played good enough teams. I mean, you just play your schedule. I'm not a big fan of that. This is
but that's what I'm saying is coming up. They've got a much tougher road.
They do.
The next month is really tough. They can make it through the next 30 days and still be in contention. My hat's off to them. And I'll be sitting in the seat there in the grandstand.
Yeah, well, absolutely, Joe. That's for sure. It's time to bring up Jared Duran. Baseball does this shit all the time, and it drives me crazy. Jared Duran. When the moment a guy goes 5 for 5 with 2 home runs in a game in AAA, I want him up in the major league because he can do the same.
Yeah, it's all due with all those rules that give me a headache. If he starts now, then he can't be a free agent for this many years and that.
No, that's all over. He will not. They will not lose a year of of his service. Right now, they can bring him up. They have clear holes in the outfield. This Cordero is maybe arguably the worst player that's ever played for the Red Sox, including Daniel Nava. You can't. These are important games. You can't give these up.
He's going to turn the corner, but I don't see anything. He gives you nothing. He's terrible in the field too. He's awful.
Yeah, he's a complete stiff.
He misplays the ball every game. Every game he misplays the ball.
So I love to think about future contracts. Erod looks. I mean, we'll see. Erod has a very good record. He doesn't look completely sharp right now. I'm not. I like Erod as a pitcher. Yeah. He's going to be a free agent after this year. What would you be willing to pay for a guy like Erod moving forward?
I'd let him take a look at the market. Do the old Bill Belichick. Go see what you can get and come back to us. Yeah. I don't think he'll get as much because people are afraid of him. He's wildly inconsistent. He has mental issues. The only one who gets something out of him is Cora.
Yeah. Look, we saw the Erod before Erod, and that was Felix Duran, who
exactly.
He had incredible stuff. I mean, I was so excited about his future. I thought he was going to be a big star. I thought he had better stuff than Erod, and then he just completely fell off. He got fat, got disinterested. I think you signed Erod to a 4-year, $80 million deal. Good luck trying to get any return out of that.
And didn't Felix go catatonic in the clubhouse?
And something. Yeah, he went for Helio Moret on us. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a shame, but I'm afraid other clubs won't trust Erod. So I don't jump to give him a lot of money. Let him see what he can get and then top it.
That's a great point.
I think that's a better strategy than setting a high price on him right off the bat.
Yeah. Bobby Dahlbeck is not the answer in any way, shape, or form. When you have a guy who can't hit right-handed pitching in major leagues, I mean, I don't know. Is there a place for you?
I know you gotta see. You can't play every day. You gotta be a platoon player because you can't. you're going to see 80% righties, right? You got to be able to hit them.
You don't
And
have
he hasn't been killing it in the field either.
no,
You
you
know,
don't
I
have
don't care what the announcers tell you.
the.
I got eyes. He's not very good.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that. But who wants to have a platoon at first base? That's like having a platoon at quarterback.
Well, we've had one for quite a while now. Well, mention two bags and the likes.
Yeah, well, that's yeah, right. No, I agree. Well, I mean, and I guess Millar at
Yeah,
some point was kind of a, right. I mean, he hit a lot. He kind of got platooned a little bit, right?
yeah,
I mean, so I guess that is a great point. I just like I want a Mo Vaughn. I want a guy that's there.
yeah. But in today's day and age, you want a slugger at first base, and you want him slugging whether it's a lefty or a righty out there. Platoon answers that.
Well, Tristan Casas, who's just the number one prospect on the Red Sox and just killing it in Portland, just remarkable. He's your first baseman in 2022. So I think they'll just probably uh, try to figure it out. Put the Marwin Gonzalez's in there, Kiki's, Dahlback and stuff. Get through the
Yeah,
season, and then it's Casas' job. I mean, there you go. He's anointed, and that's going to be that with the whole lineup. I mean, we have no second baseman. It's clear we're waiting for Jeter Downs to get there, right?
Kiki isn't the answer, that's for sure.
I mean, they're
You're right
placeholders.
about him. I had hopes for him. I'd never seen him being a national leaguer, but
No, he's a knucklehead too. Always comes up in the ninth inning. Won't take a walk. Thinks he's going to hit a. He can lead off the ninth inning. Thinks he's going to hit a 3-run homer. Yeah, he's a complete knucklehead. I told you that. I would have rather had Brock Holt on the team, to be honest with you. You would have had to pay Brock a lot less, and he's a pleasant personality, and the fans just love him.
oh, everyone loves him, especially Pete.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right. The problem with Heim Bloom is he's done actually a really good job with the Red Sox, but he did a really good job with Tampa. And
And now they're better.
right, it's kind of a unique situation, Joe, isn't it? That this
Yeah,
guy has built up this team that, to be honest with you, they look like the best team in baseball, and he's having to compete against them with all the young players he got.
yeah, he's got to compete against himself.
Yeah,
He's getting the leftovers because he got all the good stuff for them, and
yeah,
now the leftovers are going to the Sox.
I know.
Hernandez, the Gonzalez is the leftovers.
But I think if we can start giving Heim Bloom a grade, it looks like it's an A right now. It looks like he's really a professional and he has a plan.
Yeah, it looks like he knows what he's doing, and you can't expect it all in 1 year. I
Yeah.
think you have to give him at least 2 or 3 more and
And
see what he's doing with the minor league system. And
and he bought a break, Joe. I think COVID was a break for him because we know that team was going to be terrible.
yeah,
Nobody cared. So,
and no one watched.
but also he was able to trade off some pieces like Workman and Hembry and Pilar and guys like that, and get some pretty good prospects in return and start building up the farm system.
Yeah, the trade deadline in that stupid year was very kind to him.
Yeah, right. I mean, guys like Pavetta, who's been fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, they got the Connor Seabolds of the world. Yeah, it's a very exciting time. I told you they would be good. I think they're going to even be better come August once you see Duran up, once you see Sale come up.
Oh well, that's right. Yeah, Sale's right around the corner.
Yeah,
We got
absolutely.
him. I know he's throwing off a mound and all that stuff. So
Yeah, and it's not like they throw off them at the mound 30 miles an hour. They throw off the mound
yeah,
throwing 90 miles an hour. That's how they throw. You
yeah, he's
know?
just got to build up all his muscles. So, because everything is atrophied.
Yep.
His legs, his core, everything is atrophied during the rehab process.
All right, Joseph, we go to the Patriots. I want Julio Jones. I know you don't want to overpay for it.
Oh, I don't mind. I'd love to have a Julio Jones. It's just the Patriots are only going to want him at his price, and that means Atlanta's going to have to pay. And the reason Atlanta's trying to trade him is because they don't want to pay. So it doesn't look like they're a match at all.
If Julio Jones is available, Joe, Bill Belichick needs to go get him. He just needs to, especially when he still has a slight cap, salary cap advantage right now over the rest of the league. It's the window is closing. He needs to take advantage of it. This one more piece, and that's Julio Jones.
And Julio's not renegotiating. Simple as that. He's due 15 million guaranteed.
His whole contract's guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you give up a penny of that?
Well, he's not going to do that. No, but no one expects him to do that.
But someone's got to pay that 15 million. The Patriots can't.
No, the Patriots can. They can spread it out. They can. They can do this.
Yeah,
This needs to happen. Okay, absolutely. So much noise.
That's something they can really use. I don't know if Cam can get it down the field to him. But
Look, Cam, I just want to mention one thing. They're getting Julio Jones not for Cam Newton. Trust me. They're getting him for Mac Daddy. And that's who it's going to be. But a lot of noise coming this week that Cam somehow is working on his throwing motion. At this point in this guy's career, we're going to teach him how to throw again. That's all smoke and mirrors. It's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. If I hear Tom House has bought a house in town and is working with him, then I'll take it seriously. But until I hear something like that, he's not. He's just talking with the quarterback coach. Who is the quarterback coach now?
I don't know. But you made a great point a few weeks ago. He's clearly has some injury, and it must be some kind of permanent disability in his shoulder because his motion's terrible. He looks like he's compromising for some injury, permanent injury at this point. I mean, and that's never coming back.
Yeah, well, you can hear the news coming out of Foxborough. It's the same people banging the drum this year that were banging the drum saying Jared Stidham was an elite quarterback last year, right?
Totally.
They guaranteed he's starting. This is guaranteed. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's the same people telling you that you get a new improved Cam Newton.
I know. Dope face Chad Finn. I remember when I used to follow him. Had it. Will Jared Stidham throw 30 touchdown passes or more, or 30 touchdown passes or less? Right. It's just biggest stiff we've ever seen. So bad they didn't even want him to be the third quarterback in training camp. I don't know why they just didn't cut bait with him, to be honest with you.
No, they might sell. Well, he's cheap. He's on that rookie contract. He was like a fourth-round pick, so they can't be paying him. It's peanuts,
I think they gotta.
You gotta pay a backup quarterback $5-6 million, anyways, maybe $10 million.
It's
less than $1 million.
It's going to be a Ryan Mallett deal where they're going to try to get a 7th-round pick from a team at the end of training camp for Stidham. That's why they're holding out.
If someone that has a quarterback injury needs another training camp arm, you need like 4 quarterbacks in camp.
Yeah, they didn't spend $12 billion.
7-on-7, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they didn't spend $12 billion to get those tight ends so they could have Jared Stidham thrown to him. Trust me on that. Mac Daddy's the man. What I'm hearing is
he's got your favorite number.
Oh, he says 4?
10.
Oh, 10. All right. That's right. They have Jimmy G's number. That's right. He's a placeholder for Jimmy G. Look, I've heard great things in training camp. They're in the OTAs and stuff. They're very happy with him. They think that he's a professional quarterback. So they've seen him in pads and they like it. We know that's 90% of the game.
But he would still stink this year. You know how rookies are. They got to learn, and they learn the hard way usually. They usually don't learn in the easy way. They learn the hard way.
Yeah, people forget Tom Brady had 1.5 years. Yeah.
Before he came in, and they didn't let him throw it down the field for another 3 years, did they?
Yeah.
He was throwing to the backs of the tight ends for 3 years before they let him open it up. It was 2007 before all of a sudden they got him Randy Moss and said, "Okay, you can go downfield."
Joe, don't you think Julio Jones really helps Mac Jones' progression and teaches him a lot to have that type of wide receiver?
Oh, so nice to have a guy that knows how to run a route and gets separation and is open, and you can throw, ahead of him, and he'll catch up with the ball, run to the ball. It make you look a lot better. A guy like that, oh, makes you look better. Bernard Hopkins, the Julian Edelman, make you look good.
All right, Uncle Joe, I have a prediction. Defense will rate better than the offense by the end of the season. The defense will be a more productive side of the ball than the offense in the Patriots.
I think it'll still be the special teams. The special teams carried them last year. Special teams will still be the number one unit.
Are you encouraged by the defense? I mean, you.
Oh, you have to with the linebackers, Judon and Van Noy coming back, maybe Hightower coming back. I mean, you just like revamped the whole middle of the defense there, and they picked up a couple of defensive line. Remember how trashy their front seven was last year? Trash. They were a college team.
College, they looked like Brookline High. They were so small.
The scheme was the only thing holding that thing together. Now you have actual players with skills, and it'll look a lot. Once they start playing together, it'll look a lot better.
Look, we used to having.
Backfield look better too.
We used to having Wolf folks, the Ty Warrens, the Richard Seymours. These guys, took up a lot of the Akeem Hickses. These guys are big men who took up space. Absolutely right. They have
Christian Barmore. He's a big man. Let's see if hopefully the rumors aren't true and he becomes a great player.
Well, what's the rumors?
Lots of bad rumors about his behavior. That's why he lasted as long as he did.
Well, Belichick said that Belichick I couldn't believe the kudos he was throwing out to Barmore real quickly, saying the guy is a freak show.
Failed drug test. He supposedly quit on the team. There's a lot, but his buddy Saban must have vouched for him.
Absolutely right.
And he's passed those problems there. But for a first round talent, people were passing on him.
Well, look, if he ends up staying the straight and narrow, and there's really nothing to do in Foxborough right now, anyways. Do they even have any more strip joints left there over there?
They're all out of business.
Yeah.
But he was when you look at his highlight film. Oh man, is he something else?
Yeah, look, we've had plenty of these guys who are trouble who cleaned their act up when they got in the NFL. And
do they mature? Do they become an adult? It's one thing to be an 18-year-old kid, another one to be a 22-year-old.
Yeah,
earning a living.
Absolutely. All right, we end up with the Bruins. They looked fantastic and basically sweeping the Capitals because they lost the first game in overtime on a lucky goal by the Caps, and they took care of business after that. The Bruins are playing; they're peaking at the right time right now, Joe.
Well, actually, I thought the Caps won the first three games easily. They dominated the Bruins. Bruins got lucky in game two, and then something happened to the Bruins when they came out for overtime in game three. The whole thing changed. Remember, they just got like 8 shots on goal to none. They were just dominating Washington. Out of nowhere, it just started, and then the goalie screwed up. And after that, it was all over. Well, Washington was clearly superior the first 3 games.
I don't know. I don't know about the first 3 games. That's a kind of a stretch, Joe. I thought the Bruins, as the series went on, they started hitting the Caps just as much or more. And
yes, but it didn't start until something happened in that overtime. In between the end of that third game and the overtime for the third game, something happened, and they were killers after that. Oh, look who we have here.
Oh, look, for the last
guys, better late than never, guys. Sorry about that.
All right, well,
be on the boat.
All right, good. Timmy, perfect time for you to come on the show. How a mea culpa is for Tuukka Rask, who statistically is the greatest goalie in the history of the playoffs. Are you going to apologize?
No.
If he keeps playing good, I will. If he brings the Stanley Cup home, I will. But until that cup is being skated around in Bergeron's arms, I'm going to hold my decision.
Is he a Hall of Famer if they win the cup this year, is Tuukka Rask a Hall of Famer?
He's borderline right now. I think a cup might get him in. Without a cup, I don't think so. But I mean, the statistics say something different, don't they? But
Yeah.
I know what my eyes have seen.
We've seen him in 7th games, and in 6 games in Walter Park.
Look, I did not miss Chara this season. I love the guy and stuff. And then in the playoffs, it showed you Chara needs to retire. But Carlo and McAvoy were stars this playoff series.
Yeah, Chara's speed was exposed. I mean, he adjusted his game last year to make up for a lot of the lack of speed, but you know, it's dump it in behind him and go get it. He's just not fast enough to make that play anymore.
Yeah, they were trying to hide him during the series to play him at certain.
Still a great penalty killer, though.
Oh yeah, with that reach. But Tim's right. They as soon as the Bruins saw him, they were jumping in behind him and chasing, and they were setting up camp in the offensive zone.
And McAvoy's a big star.
Yeah, great player.
I mean, he's your number one. He's a number one. He's one of the top defensemen in hockey.
Yeah, he could be a top 5 defense in the league right now.
If it wasn't long ago that he was in trade rumors, I don't think that McAvoy is going to be included in any trade rumor ever again.
Yeah, I don't know what his contract situation is, but he's got some money coming. He's going to make some money before it's all said and done.
I think he took a kind of a team-friendly deal, if I remember, for like 3 or 4 years. They just need to lock him up for 10.
Yeah.
That's a lot, because in hockey, those contracts are guaranteed. It's hard to go 10 years.
But Joe, those defense.
Now. I don't think you can do that anymore.
McAvoy's going to have a 15-year career. We know that.
Agreed. And he's going to be a top-notch. And forget top 5. I think he's going to be top 3. He was the most valuable player in that series, right?
Because those defensemen can play at that high level for 10 years, where they're the top guys in the league. They just get better and better, more experienced. They understand how to get to a puck quicker, take the routes. That's all McAvoy. He's just maturing one day at a time.
Good-sized kid too. I mean, he's got a little something to him.
Yeah, McAvoy's not going anywhere. They're not.
Look at that Carlson. He seems like he's been around forever, and he's still playing good defense.
Yeah. I told Timmy, what was it, last week, I said the Bruins are going to beat the Capitals, and I said the Bruins are going to win the Stanley Cup. I believe that even more now.
I think Washington was their toughest opponent they're going to face. I mean, a lot has to go right for them to win the Cup. But I was deathly afraid of the Capitals because of how big they are.
But Timmy, especially if Carolina gets knocked off by the Predators, that helps a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Carolina's a tough team. All right, well, that's our show for tonight. Want to thank Corbin behind the scenes. I want to thank, of course, the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.